Well, this face-off between Winthrop and University and Fluffy Aimers definitely came a lot closer, but still, in the end, Fluffy Aimers to take the victory 13-11 over on our first map of Lotus. I mean, Jen, these teams, it was back and forth. Honestly, considering how recent that past Lotus match was, I wasn't sure how this one would go down, but with the comp change, the confidence, even if it wasn't enough for the win, I was liking what I was seeing coming out of Winthrop.
Yeah, like you just saw the Silence 4K just on Mound. Winthrop got away with just these very aggressive positions, but it paid off every time. Like Infiltrator and Silence had such a formidable first half, I should say. The defense retaking Seaside flawlessly almost every time, but it was the second half that things got interesting.
Yeah, if anything, there's still a net improvement, though, from Winthrop University on that first half when they played the defensive side. I mean, they didn't get a single... I mean, they only got one attacking side as well, too, when they were playing against Fluffy Aimers the last time around. So to see that these comp change brings, and not only the comp changes, but the extra firepower that they brought in with Silence, it definitely shows that, you know, despite there's such a short amount of time for them to be able to practice together to move into the stage 2, to be able to bring this to a 11-13 loss is still, like almost a close no cigar kind of thing, but at least still better than what you've seen from stage 1, right? And they're also a team that went through a lot of roster changes throughout the stage 1 with Moobs also, that was part of the roster originally, and then also the coaching staff they were trying to figure out. Now, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I'm confident still for Winthrop University.
100%. But of course, we have to talk about Fluffy Aimers and the victory there. And someone we had talked about a lot at the beginning of the show was Meme over on this squad and how he'd be able to step up. And I look back and there was a lot of great Meme moments. There was even the 1v3 clutch. But then when I'm looking at the scoreboard, the whole team kind of stepping up. I mean, Pancakes had some wonderful plays, Bones on fire on the Raise Lemon, and to be able to be like, okay, well, this person we set up to be a big part of the team was right there along, every other person on the team, has me excited for Fluffy Aimers, just kind of moving on forward.
Yeah, I thought Infiltrator actually had the edge in the first half, just based on making those big plays, clutching up multi-kills on the A site. Like, he was mechanically on fire right off the bat, but it was Bones stepping up in the second half and actually catching up in the kill department too, because I remember Infiltrate at some point was up like 5 or 6 kills over Bones, which whatever kills, but it shows also the improvement and how much Bones really caught up in that second half. And these were the raises to look at when it came to the offenses, and that how it translates in those first kills.
Yeah, if anything as well for Fluffy Aimers is exactly that, right? They have the aim, and in these moments where Mame is able to clutch, and in other moments we're able to get multi-kills from Neptune on top of that, where, usually in these moments you're supposed to have some sort of tradability aspect and value that Winthrop actually had when they were trying to fight against Fluffy Aimers, but unfortunately couldn't win against that single player that was anchoring a certain area or holding a certain spot. So it comes down to those moments where, that slight little moment, that slight little gap in terms of those duels still comes out in favor of Fluffy Aimers, where, it seems to be the saving grace, at least for that team, to continue to move forward with these victories. But I don't know how long that's going to last if Winthrop University continues that same synergy and the same style going into map 2 weeks.
I mean, looking at their next map of Sunset and the fact that this is a direct run back of how we saw these two teams place up against each other like 2.5 weeks ago, this will be really, really interesting. This is now going to be Winthrop University's map pick, but Lotus last time at an 11-3 loss for Winthrop, and being able to see, Jen, where they've improved since then. Sunset was actually really close last time, them taking 11-13 loss. So realistically, by that math, are we about to see a Sunset win?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, like 13-11, and I'm looking at the offensive rounds, like they pretty much won the same amount. So this is gonna be the map to watch. And also, like, Winthrop played Fade last time as their initiator on this. There's a lot of different options. Some people like Gecko, even Sova. This is where there's some flexibility. But the fact that they're already comfortable with Screwface and entering into sight with Nightfall, or just the info that Screwface provides with the Fade of, as we saw in Lotus, Winthrop can go into this with confidence, while the last time we saw Fluffy Aimers, they ran with Breach and Sky.
Yes, exactly, and that's the interesting part as well. I think it's more on Fluffy Aimers to bring up the Sky. Yes, the double flash is giving you a lot of value, but you're not getting too much scans behind it. At least if you're playing double initiator with one flash in the haunt, you still have potentially to still get good pings out on your retakes. But the double flash and then trying to enter into like all these tight angles on Sunset that might not be able to be fully cleared out could be the bane of you not being able to win this map. Although this was a map that was squeaked through by Fluffy Aimers on a 13-11 win last time against Winthrop, I would still like to see Fluffy Aimers progress a little bit more in their compositional changes by not having a Sky in their comp. I wouldn't mind if we still had a mirror match with a Fade coming through, but I as to what Jen was mentioning, if we actually have a Gecko coming in for the end to help out Neptune with the breach, I think it will be nice to see.
Yeah, because if anyone was going to pull out the Gecko, it would probably be Nasi, because he did that last time on Lotus, and now they've changed their position. But speaking of changes, it's also Pancakes who runs usually the Breach for Lotus, but then the Breach gets picked up by Neptune instead. So there's some roles being changed on Fluffy Aimers, and it's obviously you played that person on that map, on that agent, because that's their expertise. So with that role change, is it favoring Fluffy Aimers, or is that kind of like resetting the game plan and also the play style that you have?
I mean, when we're looking at Fluffy Aimers, I wouldn't be too surprised to see if we do go towards a comp change, because when they brought out the Sky, it wasn't like they've been running with the Sky on Sunset for a long time, so it's something they're kind of used to, or like, hey, this is how we like to play. It was kind of a one and done. They brought it for the mid-season cup. We got to see it on one map. That was kind of it. So since we've had 2.5 weeks since then, and people kind of leveling up for now our stage 2 of competition fans, I mean, I'd be surprised to see the Sky come out, especially to looking at Pancakes and how he's been with this team and leading the team. I don't really see this as a team to be necessarily falling behind when we look at comp.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, even if they're falling behind on the comp, like I said, the Sky still works, but although if we had something different, I would be more inclined to enjoy a different type of composition. But if anything, if they're behind on util or they're behind on the comp, they still have the aim to work with against a team like Winthrop University, right? And at that point, when you have the reps against a more standard comp that Winthrop University brought in last time, then you have ways to kind of like counter and also understand how they were playing and the tendencies that Winthrop University were pulling out with Ali in the roster last time during the midseason cup.
I like the Sky because at least you can break the line of sight. You can just send the bird around the corner and it seems like a safer option. Sometimes the breach is like ready to break into B or around the corner and then the defenders swing on you before the breach just pop the youth hill. So the flashes can really guarantee you a good engagement into the site if it works, if they're not pivoting away or whatever, if they're even playing on the site. So I'm interested to see how the Sky works out, or even if it even returns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fluffy Aimers, regardless of the comp fans, you're not wrong. They definitely do have aimers. But when we're looking at this Winthrop University on the opposing end, they're definitely showing capabilities of being able to shoot back. But our Agent Select is ready, so it's time to head over to Agent Select and Sunset. So I'll see you two later.
Thanks. We're not kids anymore. We're grown-ups. Oh, the Sky's there.
Yeah, and it's Neptune on top of that. So there's been some at least role changes, as you've mentioned before. The expertise that you saw from Pancakes on a map like Lotus as the breach before, he's going to be the one using it this time around, and Neptune's going to be the other one. I do agree with you, yes, that there's still double flashes that could allow you to for you to get some stronger engagements if you know where you want to fight, right? So I wonder if it's because you wanted to send a Sky Flash to just have Bones follow right behind it at that point. But if you're trying to get close range information on a Flash or your dog, then you would have had, at least for me, much better value bringing out a Fade at that point for the close corners. But at least we'll get there when we get there, right? Maybe they're going to prove me wrong that the second time here that they're pulling out the same agent composition versus Winthrop, same agent composition too, right? Silence is going to hold what Ali was holding before on an Omen, and they also made it work in that comp. I mean, this is a lot more standard than we usually see. Sometimes a Gecko instead of a Fade, but the Fade still brings a lot of great value here on how you want to potentially take your close range corners and also your scans of taking middle control like the Gecko could do.
We'll keep an eye on the Jerk versus Jonah Cypher off. And because this is an important map to have a Cypher pop off on, especially with sometimes holding down a site by yourself. And now there's less options, you know, of sites to push compared to Lotus. So it can really all fall on that Cypher and the decision on whether to play inside of the site if you're defending or playing for retakes, and how your camera is going to be set up. Because now that people can hear that you're watching them, you don't have as much time to watch them through the camera. So, and then of course we just pointed out how the Razes have been the ones exploding onto the site, getting those first bloods, and being the ones that put the team on their back.
And there's Haunt to start things off here. Winthrop University on the attack. It doesn't spot anything yet, so it allows for them to potentially get this fast mid to B where there's no trip to hold them back. Already a stun's putting Jonah away. That's going to be an open sight. This trip's already set up towards the back of the Boba just to make sure here for Fluffy Aimers that Winthrop University cannot overextend into Boba. This could be a good read on their side because that's exactly what Winthrop are trying to do.
Getting info on when they're pushing, so I think that trip has been dealt with, and Winthrop are in the smoke, and the flash thrown by Nasi is huge. And the 2v2 is all we're left with after Fluffy Aimers are at least able to exchange, but the spike is planted, and it's planted for B long. No util left on Winthrop's side. Just a smoke from Mame to bait the engagement out of Winthrop, but Silence is the goat! Oh my god!
Doesn't matter now.
One more time, Silence stepping up here, and this time getting the double kill, and it was an easy tap to try to go for a bait and switch. I mean, Mame had a second smoke that he could have thrown towards main, but it was just trying to catch here the last two players off guard for Winthrop University. A beautiful piss around in the end. The chaos that ensues one more time between these two teams on how they try to take map control continues to be so good. And I love these type of fights. It looks chaotic, but there's a method behind the madness that both of these teams are doing very well through these fights.
Right, Haunt. Right in the middle. We're getting no info. Really harassing Fluffy Aimers, so just hosing down mid. Got also a smoke at the B door, as Winthrop just kind of have a normal default going. Fluffy Aimers have Jonah having a camera on A and can play in that safe position away from the site, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's an easy pop flash if they were able to spot somebody there, but with a minute left on the clock and realizing there's been zero noise done so far by Winthrop University, Fluffy Aimers are the one that are starting to feel that paranoia sense behind their necks, and they have to make a play. So they're pivoting towards an A site where it's a wrong read, unfortunately. Great call by Winthrop University to just stop making any noise and look for a pop here at 45 seconds left, and it's an open B site for them to plant. Body block.
Rifle spraying it down, and a bad satchel infiltrator is caught, and Fluffy Aimers though just don't have the firepower. The entry was nice, but Winthrop will convert the round.
Yep. I mean, it was a first little small mistake there with Infiltrator trying to satchel back inside the smoke and just runs into his teammate. But as you've mentioned here, much better weapons that you had for Winthrop University on the anti-eco. So the util that was used here by Fluffy Aimers was not enough with the flash that came outside of that smoke. Which is, again, maybe one of those things where, you know, why you have Neptune playing the Sky where Pancakes played it previously. A KO flash maybe is going to be something that could be useful with a KO, but the Sky Flash allows for you to pop outside of those smokes a little bit more quickly.
Wow, great haunt in that A hallway. Don't think it caught Neptune. Well, he's caught now. Winthrop have weakened the A side, but there's three around the corner. And a paranoia jumping in is Infiltrator, dislodging the person on the block too. Fluffy Aimers get one, and that's it. Jonah. I mean, I said he was in a safe position at the start of the round. This is not what I meant, though, in a 1 versus 4. Hey, a lot of injuries on the other side, though.
Jonah wants to keep it expensive somehow, but remember, this is a bonus round for Winthrop University. If anything, though, when you lose your first person on a defensive line the way that you did with Neptune getting dropped, makes it a lot easier here for Winthrop University to snowball towards the A site where you don't have that extra utility. You don't have the extra flash to fight with from the how you're turtled inside that site. So yeah, Winthrop University did a great job punishing that and converting a bonus round and upgrading a few, right? The weakest weapon they'll have in the next round is a Guardian, but they'll play against an anti-eco with potentially Jonah P, a Vandal, in the next round. He's currently still being hunted by Winthrop University towards the spawn, but it seems to be a situation where he will be able to save his weapon.
But the Fade's really been working out for Screwface and the Friends of Winthrop. They're just pushing as a team, cashing out. But what will this look like with now more equal weaponry? Because Winthrop had a great start last time. We all remember that. But you can't deny Fluffy Aimer's ability to adapt on the fly and stay composed.
Oh, definitely. And we've seen that, as you've just mentioned here, that display towards their rounds on Lotus. Now, just for Winthrop University, it seems as though every single one of these rounds, it hasn't been really figured out yet by Fluffy Aimers, but behind this hot, sometimes there's players, sometimes there's not. So the conditioning is very well done by Screwface, and you really haven't had Fluffy Aimers forced to push down towards A or fight back towards middle or try to go for a pop play towards the B site for them to really see where Winthrop University are currently defaulting to their rounds. But at least with the dog that comes out, you're starting to bring up at least the showstopper within the next 2 rounds. There's going to be an open A site where that's where Jonah is with the Vandal.
Already adjustment too. Neptune is not going to be the one holding it this time. It's Jonah, the only one with an actual rifle. As Winthrop have satcheled. Well, at least they're trying to satchel in here in a second. And as Fluffy Aimers thought they had the timing to flood into the site, based on how Bones was positioning, Winthrop have won every engagement. So it's 4-0 for Winthrop, but you don't blame him. Fluffy Aimers just didn't have the guns for this round either.
For Infiltrator to get those kills and come out of it with 2 HP, you got to count your lucky stars that the RNG didn't pan out in favor. I think that was Pancakes with the classic towards that back of gate. But yeah, that's another round converted. I mean, stronger weapon buy. Now you have Showstopper because thankfully Bones at least got 1 kill before he died. So it allows for them to even up at least in terms of the economy around ults on a strong Showstopper on one end. But Winthrop still has a lead with a Nightfall, getting very close to a Rolling Thunder 2, and they want to focus on taking control of the A site.
Face your fear!
The party was brought by Infiltrator, and the paranoia from Mame slows them down, but Winthrop are still clearing elbow. Neptune still removed, just hasn't been able now in back-to-back rounds to get at least a trade. I don't blame him, 1v4. It's a lot of bullets coming your way, but Winthrop still have to look to get onto the site, and there's no smokes really covering the top, and they don't know who's on.
At least with Neptune dying, all of the ults that were utilized to take control of the A site has been nullified. So Winthrop University understanding and giving respect to Fluffy Aimers as well. Because if you're looking at Jerk's position, his role was to lurk around. But he's been staying down bottom mid the whole time. So Winthrop on their end, they're kind of like just guessing on pivoting back towards this B site with no information on mid, no information on B. And Winthrop are walking right into the perfect read in the late round call by Fluffy Aimers with a fault line still available on the defense.
Jonah's like, I got you guys. I'll let you know when they go in. He's got the camera at the corner. Boombot, see if there's a trip close. Also, anyone at the corner. But Winthrop, oh wow, they lose the long range engagement. Winthrop had the numbers. Fluffy Aimers, like you said, had the read. But now this is even too much for Pancakes to handle. 1v3. A lot of injuries on Winthrop's side. Pancakes already spotted one, but couldn't deal with it. Screwface at 3 of that round, and Winthrop with an unbeatable offense so far.
Yeah, and almost isolated at that point too. You saw the idea behind Pancakes just pulling out the barrel of his rifle just around the corner so he could bait out some shots and now could maybe isolate a 1v1. But you're playing against Screwface here, Kyle. He's got too much tenure under this name and too much experience that he's not going to lose that 1v1 against Pancakes. And that's now 5 unanswered rounds by Winthrop University. Fluffy Aimers pulling out their first time out. Where again, the read was perfect, at least in the mid round for Fluffy Aimers. that the hit was going to come towards the B site. But just unfortunate there that, one, they didn't have the numbers. They were in a 3 versus 5. And 2, they didn't have the utility. They only had a fault line to try to fight against. Well, I guess the camera did help a lot so that you could get a couple of these kills. But there's just too many bodies here for Winthrop University. And Nasi's doing what I wish I was doing right now.
I was gonna say, he's so unbothered. He's 5-1, snacking away.
Love it. 5 assists. I mean, those are huge.
Yeah, totally. So Winthrop, I don't want to believe too hard, but after what we saw last map, it's the defense that every team today has sort of struggled with. So
that's true. That's true.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
And now off this timeout. Yeah, the showstopper is on the defense, but it's not really set up. Well, I mean, it kind of is because you have a fault line that's kind of trying to get a stun in case there's some heavy aggression towards the A side. But this shouldn't be coming out. I think if anything, if they wanted to do that type of trap play, you need that camera set up here by Jonah towards the top of the bell at the middle so they can watch down towards A. So all of this is just a timeout to focus in the next round. Oh, okay. Oh, what a nice entry.
Bye, Jonah.
That was sick.
My bad for caster cursing him, guys. Blame me for it. First blood for Winthrop. Looking for his 6th round win in a row against a very cheap buy for Fluffy Aimers. Maybe if Bones can take a better gun, but he's got a showstopper from the shadows from Fluffy Aimers, and Winthrop have planted and they managed to get into B main before Bones could get at him.
That was unfortunate because a dog came out from Neptune towards the spawn, so you're preemptive on the showstopper. This changes the scale, tips the scale back in favor of Winthrop on the pulse plant.
Winthrop smoke off, bird in from Neptune, but Jerk stands and delivers through the cage and the fire and the flames, and Neptune just trying to run from the Prowler. Oh, Nasi's chasing him too, but now he just can't see. Wait!
That's good. That's very good too. Trying to get away to make sure that... Yeah, it was very funny, but it was also trying to make sure that the guys can get orbs here on Screwface that was 1 away, especially on a thrifty buy for Fluffy Aimers at that point, and you're able to land that shot on your end to build ults on your side. I mean, that's not too bad. But again, I feel that they should have waited behind the dog to try to get more information. It was crossing over that pillar, and that would have confirmed that all the players here were holding out towards that front B side, and that's trying to adapt through the chaos. And where maybe just a simple hunt if you had a fade, but I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here.
Yeah, there was a haunt from Screwface in mid. I'm surprised it didn't catch Bones because they walked out thinking no one was there. Now you got Seekers from Neptune. Where is the rest? Obviously leaning towards the A site, and that's when Fluffy Aimers gonna go after each of these targets off of the info. That's all it's been taking.
Beautiful.
Fluffy Aimers finally get around.
Yeah, and that's why they had the timeout now for Fluffy Aimers, understanding that the same conditioning happened every single round by Screwface with the haunt. And the past 6 rounds, nobody was really contesting that mid take. And then they wanted to walk up here for Winthrop to continue to pressure now towards the middle because you never really saw too much utility being used on those extremities at the beginning when it came down to these defaults. So they walk down behind those pillars, they get those picks, and then they activate and just overpower Winthrop University. And that's going to change things a bit. I was going to say maybe Screwface learned to not walk down middle with the spike, but he's about to do it. He does have the spike one more time. At least this time they have util behind it to push the defenders away. So there is still some sort of layers behind the attack side of Winthrop University as what happens if. So now that they understand that there's pressure coming out from Fluffy Aimers out and outside, to just push them back and contain them back within the sites.
Hey, but the Sky got Fluffy Aimers around, so take that, Sky haters. Although, you know, you live and you die by the Sky sometimes, so. Got a flash, but all the action will be at A, where, well, Mame is the only one really there. No one's even on the site, no one's holding that elbow. I mean, usually it was Neptune, but he's been fragged so many times that I think it's best to just leave it and play for retake. Nightfall ready for Screwface. It's about pulling the trigger, and this covers the entire site. Might have hit Fluffy Aimers there at A-Link, and flashing in. Infiltrator loses that to Bones. They go 1 for 1. Smoked off, though, top site and also the hallway.
30 seconds left.
and a link. It's been tough. It creates such a small enclosure inside of the A site, and then Winthrop are nowhere to be found. Fluffy Aimers retake.
Cage triggered.
And it's a big fight that's going to happen here from Jonah. Delays enough, but the plant will still come down, and here's the cross. Rare miss.
4 seconds left. Oh, so close. 3-2. Favor of the retake. Nasi's trying to get ahead of it. As Flash and Fault Line. Needs some support though, because Jerk was trying to get the crossfire set up, but gets killed by Pancakes. Jerk, neural theft, knows the push is coming in, and with the headshot with the 2-for-1, sure, Zippo clutch for Winthrop.
They'll take the lineup. You'll take the lineup any day there for Jerk for that win. A nice conversion that came through for Winthrop University on the disadvantaged position that they had in the disadvantaged situation. But you saw the idea of what we were talking about, why Fluffy Aimers are using this guy. They actually leverage this guy to have Bones' satchel just behind it and to get that entry pick onto Infiltrator, and that kind of gets them guessing at this point. But now you don't have too much utility to retake the site towards the end because you don't have any more refreshable utility. So you have to run perfect body trades. They did a nice bait and switch to bait out the util coming through, but nice clutch in the end by Jerk.
Winthrop are back in the driver's seat.
Exactly. Well, I mean, 7-1, Brazil scoreline.
Brazil! Oh! Infiltrator detected. Bones back in position. Winthrop smoked off, and they don't even know where the danger's coming from. But Winthrop are bleeding out on this one. Nasi and Screwface, 30 HP. And now, brought down to 2. This is a Fluffy Aimers round if I've ever seen one.
This is where it starts, right? This is where it starts. Fluffy Aimers are starting to figure out here how they could fight back against Winthrop. They already forced back a TP coming through. Beautiful Ruling Thunder to stop that aggressive push. Neptune already reads to rotate over from Screwface, was trying to pinch back on, damaging the economy against their opponents. I mean, they're in an okay bind in the next round. So if they could drop some weapons here, they're in a good spot.
Uh-oh.
30 seconds left.
Could be a 4K though. Or 3K, I guess there's 3. I know how to count, but it didn't work out for Jerk either way. Yeah, Fluffy Aimers can take a round here or there, but
it would have been a 4K for Jerk or a 3K for Jonah that he just got, you know? Because if Jerk got those 3 kills and isolated those that stat that came through, but that's beautiful discipline coming out from Fluffy Aimers on after losing the first player. But yeah, that's why you need this timeout now. You know, last time when you kind of let this slip on such a tough lead, you want to make sure that you're putting those breaks a little bit earlier than anticipated. But Nasi's still smiling no matter what. I'm still eating away.
Still snacking up net.
So jealous.
So yeah, one timeout out each, and Winthrop now just also getting stopped from even getting into the site every now and then. I'm not really worried, and I mean, based on how Nasi is reacting here, they're not worried either. Just gonna make sure to shut down the little things that Fluffy Aimers are doing and just see if they can pivot sites too, because usually when Winthrop go to one site, they're kind of committed.
Oh, definitely. Especially when it comes down to how passively Fluffy Aimers are currently playing here and giving a lot of mid control. I mean, as I say that, there's been a lot of rounds where Winthrop University have not taken advantage of trying to smoke out and even pinch towards the backside of mid, where a lot of teams started doing here towards their attack side of Sunset to catch people off pawn shop when they're trying to do these splits. That said, off this timeout, they're just trying to fight early here to try to potentially grab B main control. And it turns out to be the same play for Fluffy Aimers. Contact from Bones with a jiggle peek, a flash, and a double swing. There's the call.
Okay, again, Winthrop just can't get on site without Fluffy Aimers just kicking them in the face. The boom bot will tell you how close Winthrop are to that corner. And Winthrop are hoping to bite back. They got Paranoia in position. Even a Prowler. Just what options do you want to take? Or again, why not pivot? You look at where Jerk is. He's cleared through mid, and they could just change their minds. It's not too late.
Yeah, that's the mid control we were talking about before, but they move in together to try to split the B site.
Enemy down.
Well,
Mummy was not ready.
but a different approach. Winthrop won't be changing side, they'll just be changing angles. And they just caught Pancakes at the top of sight there. Fluffy Aimers take back mid control and will be providing an alternate angle, but it's been smoked off. So Winthrop have done the job. They've done the plant thing. But now, can they actually defend the post plant?
With the Rolling Thunder? Yes. That is my answer.
All right, next round.
Definitely, let's go to the next round. This is not going to be a defusable situation for Fluffy Aimers.
Oh, that paint shell in this group A's, and he was flashed, and Fluffy Aimers couldn't punish that. Satchling in Bones. Okay.
Oh, no.
Did they get
Oh,
away
no.
with it? Wait, you cursed it. You cursed it. 2v1 up to Nasi, and Jonah is defusing.
Oh, no.
Bones gets away with so much crime.
Oh.
Cage triggered. Cage triggered.
That's our fault. Our bad.
Sorry, Winthrop University fans. I just didn't know why the Rolling Thunder went a little bit too early there. There was so many body. I mean, I guess they didn't have the paint shells anymore, right? You couldn't try to delay as much. They had a great smoke from from Fluffy Aimers, if not paint shells on their ends that Bones actually threw behind the map. So it really disrupted Winthrop University trying to delay as much as they could here on this post plan to allow Jerk to really lurk around towards the market. It started off well. They had a nice backstabbing in the beginning, but not a good pulse plan in the end.
Well, yeah, that camera from Jonah is not set up to watch mid, so a lot of free mid control for Winthrop, and once that smoke clear, oh, there goes Infiltrator. Jonah, a good anchor, but he's got more problems to deal with. Winthrop has dealt with him, and they've taken back over the B side, but Fluffy Aimers got control back of mid and their flank, and Winthrop, well, it's a foiled plan.
Mm-hmm. But you saw the idea that, you know, we were mentioning before, there wasn't too much mid control being taken so far by Winthrop University. They understood on that previous round where, you know, Jerk kind of lurked through and saw that it was kind of open. They thought they'd be able to do it this time around with satchels. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that again where they actually try to satchel towards the back and then push towards market to really pinch towards that B side. But it might not be needed when Silence has from the shadows and they have a showstopper ready for an all-out pop potentially towards this A site. They're already pinging it across, and Fluffy Aimer seems to be ready for it. You already have a strong side A site hold on a 4-1 setup. And have the perfect util to delay it at the same time. Fault line, paranoia. And here's the hit.
A lot of pressure. Neptune's got the support of his duelist this time when usually he solo holds it. And, well, what's Infiltrator doing over there?
One enemy remaining.
He's just having a hard time getting those first bloods when he's being that aggressive. And Fluffy Aimers have shut it all down. And we had the potential to have the funniest thing happen of like an 8-4 Winthrop.
Switching sides.
Where, remember how Lotus was when Winthrop were up 8-4 and then lost? Like, we had the potential to have the funniest thing. But it's a 7-5 half.
Potential, but also it was a 7-1 lead as well for Winthrop. That unfortunately they let that slip again, and that paranoia does not allow Infiltrator to get any value out of that showstopper too. And this comes down to perfect reading and IGLing coming out from Fluffy Aimers, knowing that it was going to be textbook that off a showstopper they're going to hit towards the A site. Easy pickings being done there for Fluffy Aimers. Now they have an opportunity to take the attack side. Or maybe we're going to see that value of that Sky. We've seen the potential of it on the defensive side. Now on the attack, there's ways for Bones to get some very aggressive control here on this very map.
Yeah, the Winthrop offense just became really predictable, right? They never pivoted sites. It's Infiltrator satcheling in, and eventually I got found out, as you said. So Fluffy Aimers only down by 2 rounds. Taking this round nice and slow. They have vision in mid with the camera from Jonah. They'll have to deal with this A elbow area where now Winthrop taking a page out of Jonah's book of just leaving a camera on the site and being nowhere near that business.
Seems like a very passive camera, though. This might give an opportunity for Fluffy Aimers to really walk all the way up. And that's going to be the name of the game. Jonah probably is going to be a late lurk on that middle. As they walk out here, finally the camera spots the knees at the very beginning. Here comes the pop right after. I realize that the site's fully open, so Winthrop University is going to play the retake, allowing here players to set up and maybe even fight towards the spawn. Yeah, they're definitely walking towards that now.
Good smoke too, and Mame with the paranoia. It's all about timing, though. Ready to throw that out. There it is, but it's in response to I think a Nasia breach util got thrown too, so it's kind of a scramble. Either way, Winthrop lost infiltrator. Nasi's 3 HP and now gone for good.
One enemy remaining.
Kind of the one way, but Fluffy Aimers are holding this corner and not letting it go.
And that's the issue when you're playing a Cypher Cam, to play passively and knowing that you're playing the retake. That A site was going to be open no matter what. So Fluffy Aimers understanding weak side A and wanting to fight towards spawn because they're going to try to retake from shop and from spawn. What did he do? Aftershock, then a flash, then a paranoia. There's nothing you can do to hold that the back lines on the retake there for Winthrop University, yet you still have players towards the front end because you allowed 5 players to walk inside the site and set up here on the pulse plant. So unfortunate there, pissed around being won this time by Fluffy Aimers, and they already have already a great opportunity to tie up the game. 5 Bulldogs across the board. They heard here the tap on the orb fault line to push Screwface away, not allowing for him to get the orb. That's going to allow Bones to pick it up, or Neptune, or Pancakes, however they want to do the cycle here of the ults.
So much momentum and wind in the sails of Fluffy Aimers after how that last half ended. They'll be just dogging it up through A. And they also push most of the troops through the left side through a link and realizing there's a lot more Winthrop defenders than they thought. Somehow Fluffy Aimers don't really get a scratch on them.
Yeah. Just gotta wait out the Omen smokes and just death ball out after. Now you see that it disappears. They're gonna start walking up right now. But Nasi has a flash. They might try to use their window of opportunity to try to surprise here. Fluffy Aimers is already being set up.
Screwface.
Here.
Got it. Going, and the C's, the nade, and Fluffy Aimers seem okay, and they want to fight back, but then they rush out of the smoke a little too antsy. And Fluffy Aimers, I guess they had Pancakes through push through a link to get some backstabs, while Winthrop weren't sure.
Planted.
And Mame will get the plant. 2v1 in favor of that post plant. Jonah and Mame swing at the same time, and we're all evened up.
That was actually kind of sick. I didn't actually notice that it was an aftershock that was set up and not the flash here from Nasi towards that spawn. So they tried to go for a C's aftershock just around the elbow. They smoked towards that side as well, so that after the chaos, you're seeing now Fluffy Aimers forced to jump out of the smoke, which allowed beautiful crossfire setup here for Winthrop University to do a lot of damage on minimal buys. Just 2 pieces of utility from an aftershock and a C's. To do some econ damage over on the end of FAIM. Because look at Fluffy Aimers right now. They have shields. They have Bulldogs still. Now they potentially even have less util. I don't know if there was a boom butt available from Bones, but nonetheless, it's a hit towards B.
Okay, clearing the trips, clearing out silence. First blood for Fluffy Aimers. Not the... I guess there's only one person that's not a Vandal, but hey, Mame will get the second. Fluffy Aimers got the plan. They got smokes at the top site, and Nasi gets in position for a flash potentially. But then Fluffy Aimers have a crossfire set up. Neptune's gonna pick a different corner though, and almost got caught. And somehow, as maybe Winthrop were peeking to catch Neptune crossing in front of that doorway, Neptune had the last laugh. So Infiltrator Screwface left full fade util 2. Infiltrator just thought he could outthink Neptune, who switched corners again. Now Screwface is really screwed.
Oh yeah, he's just trying to just fall back and try to save his weapon here. But I guess right now for Winthrop University, they weren't expecting such a fast pop here towards this B site, especially towards the market. And that's some of the standard things that you currently see in terms of execution, right? The fault line paranoia towards the market, satchel in. But it still caught Silence off guard. I think that was Silence inside market. So they're going to have to understand now that with this composition that you currently have here, with the breach, and an Omen that they could still pop as quickly, despite not able to get early information with any scan agents on their end. So they're going to play a lot of gambles with these flashes. Winthrop has to have some good reads going into this.
And this is a series point for Fluffy Aimers, and I don't know, once they started winning rounds, they haven't stopped. Like, it's now 7 rounds in a row, if you're counting the last half. So
True.
they really have downloaded Winthrop at this point, and
Yes.
as long as they can make it onto the site, then things are good.
But they can right now, especially in this situation where they have a hero rifle in the hands of Infiltrator. Set up once again to do a trap play off the orb tap, but instead potentially a flash for Bones to swing out.
Once that's gone, Infiltrator gets the 1v1, but hey, there's more people around the corner, so good trade
I must wait a
for
moment.
Neptune.
Cage triggered.
But it's really, the missing out on your raise, I feel like really hurts the offense more than anything. That's like the primary person being aggressive, getting into the site for you. Still lots of options too. You got Sky Flash, you got Prowlers, you got Plan Bs.
Yeah, at least now the rifle could be salvaged here on the end of Winthrop University after Screwface re-cleared it with the Prowler, and the camera still towards B main. So they have an opportunity here. I don't think you should... Oh, never mind. It just got broken. I thought they were just going to keep it so that the trip could actually activate and sound the alarm, and you could play that camera for the retake towards the site with this rifle that you have. But at least the camera that got broken allows for Winthrop to rotate early
30
here towards his B
seconds
site.
Ooh. Something messed up the vision there. Is it paranoia from Silence? Not sure, but this is where it all goes down. And with pistols, Winthrop could try and pick up better weapons. But Fluffy Aimers are not going to let them, but this is getting real close. Now
10
Nazi
seconds.
gets a double kill, and the third to even us up 8-8.
I love it even more that there's 10 seconds left and his spike is down out in the open, and you're choosing to double swing out against the last player, where you kind of lined up at that point. And Jonah, unfortunate for him, and lucky enough for Winthrop, he was running forward to try to at least run in to pick up the spike. But another one of those rounds, just like the first series that we just casted today, one hero rifle in the hands of Infiltrator ends up being the most important piece of weaponry that allows here for the lower buy to win the round. He didn't get any kills out of it, but at least his teammates did.
Oh, okay. Does Screwface get out of that? Oh, he's getting chased. Time to clutch or kick. Oh, just this kneecap sticking out. Screwface lost that advantage of holding the angle and manages to retreat to the site where Silence will be there with paranoia. If the fight has to come to them, but really Silence is watching who is cutting and extending past mid.
Cage
And
triggered.
that's Jonah, who at least distracted them for a moment.
Right now, it's been continuous trap plays coming out from the tap orb from Screwface, and that's a way for them to get that early information that there's a strong lean towards the A side. But because of this lurk, he might just become a mid-round pivot back towards the A side. So nobody from Winthrop University are really giving up their positions here. Still strong side towards B, still trying to leverage a trap play and also setting up a crossfire on middle. There's the Seekers to get info after the tap of the orb.
Oh, Nazi wasn't expecting them to be that close.
30 seconds
At
left.
least goes 1 for 1 in that moment.
that's spike.
Fluffy Aimers
Down mid.
and a 2v2
One enemy
showstopper
remaining.
for Infiltrator will convert. Third kill for him. And Fluffy Aimers at a disadvantage when they were just on this win streak.
No.
And pancakes manages to fix his aim. And we got a Zipple clutch for Fluffy Aimers.
What a round by Pancakes. There was no way he was supposed to swing through a timing of paint shells and a boom bot to surprise Infiltrator and catch Jerk off guard to reset the econ once again. I think it's going to be a half buy because it looked like the 3 of them were able to buy rifles, but I think 2 of them over at Winthrop are still broke. But look at that. Yes, it was a labored fight, but that's what happens when both of the players kind of like catch themselves in their crosshairs and being like, I wasn't expecting you. You just had to like reset on time. But there you go, another hero rifle are trying to fight back against the trap play of grabbing the orb, right? Last time they tapped these, Fault Line came out, Satchel's through, but this time they have Nasi to help out with the Rolling Thunder. There's that Fault Line on both ends!
Winthrop keep trying this, and it's working out. And Fluffy Aimers, I mean, they love to play this mind game. You just never know where they're going to be, if they're going to pivot. It's so slow, it's quiet, and Winthrop are kind of sick of it and going for early peaks. This time it gives them a first blood and a second blood, too, and Silence will be able to... I thought he's going to grab that gun. Either way, Winthrop are worried about the B site.
Yeah, it's down out in the open. Very hard for them to commit to try to pick that up. Oh, sorry, towards market. Hard to commit to pick that up unless you have bodies to move in with you. And so much time is wasted because of this smoke, so you will be able to leverage all of this. Prowler also clearing out towards long A. They know the hit now is going to happen towards B.
It's going to be a 3v3 on the site. Once Fluffy Aimers deal with all the Cypher util. I think there's only one trip left. Now it's gone. There's a smoke cutting the site in half, and well, Neptune and friends are just going to push past it and thrive, and they've managed to catch Market 1v3, and Neptune will be hidden in the smoke with the classic right click too, and went for the spike, and that was the longest flank ever from Screwface, but it paid off in the end.
Made it happen for sure. And at this point, you're going to have to change the game plan now for Fluffy Aimers, because they figured it out very similar to how Winthrop University was figured out with the consistent conditioning that Screwface is doing towards middle. This time, Fluffy Aimers always has some sort of trap play behind a tap orb on A side and a late lurk towards mid. And this time, you're going to start seeing something different here. They have pings all the way back towards the mid side to Boba, but little they didn't know, there's Screwface with an outlaw. That might catch them off guard.
Get back.
Oh, great first blood. Screwface, and seeing who else could be home and mid with the haunt, can get back into position with the camera from Jonah that's now dealt with. He's gonna try and challenge this outlaw, but now this outlaw has friends and Jonah as a pillar, and really not much going. Hey, but he's eating up a lot of the enemy utils, so that's something. But Winthrop are the ones with kills, so that something really doesn't matter. Winthrop up to 10.
Good anti-eco towards the end. Good buy that you had on Screwface with the outlaw so that he could actually maximize here the space that they could take on the defensive side and the information on top of that. So very well done. With these pings, though, I don't know if they're going to try to do this for Fluffy Aimers on their buy round to try to capitalize still on this top mid control to try to maybe pinch here into the B site. But they are leading towards that direction to start, right? So the trap play that they're trying to do towards the A site, turn that to the next page. But for Winthrop, they're also fighting here towards bottom mid.
They keep getting away with that. How many first bloods that has happened for Winthrop? Just early peaking. Fluffy Aimers aren't even allotted to have the time to play this chess match. And there's 3 ults for Fluffy Aimers. You thought this was going to be the round to try and get their economy back in order. Things have quieted down, and does this camera see anything?
Nah, it's for top mid here if you're walking through. So
Oh,
right now for Fluffy Aimers, they still have Spike. They still have a lot of ults. The thing is right now they won't have Seekers to try to get real info, so it's falling behind the dog and then probably the showstopper pop. While they have this late lurk. Oh my god, but it's with Spike.
Yikes. Neptune says, let me go in first. Bones won't be the first one entering no more. These raises have been shut down on both sides quite well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't the best satchels that I've seen, but with that, it gives the hunt, sorry, not the hunt, neural theft to get all this information. So that cancels out any type of ults you're trying to come through here for Fluffy Aimers. Great job by Winthrop University to anchor out here another B side attempt.
Come on.
So right now, trap plays on the A side denied. B skills towards top mid and B site fully denied as well. I think you're going back after this timeout to work towards A. That's the best thing you got towards you. It's like, hey, we got these rounds towards A side. Let's go A.
Yeah, jeez. I thought that was going to be a Fluffy Aimers round when you had 3 ults and you just need to execute a game plan. But that's the thing. The game plan isn't... You don't even have time to think because Winthrop are swinging at you, whether it's from the A site corner, from that hallway, or now this time through mid. This Winthrop are really changing things up. I was pointing out that they started becoming a little predictable in that first half, and why Fluffy Aimers started to come back. And now it's the other way around.
We're definitely in a position here to potentially see a map 3 between these two teams where Ascent would be the decider. But you saw just before we got into this timeout here that it wasn't the best buy that we currently have for Fluffy Aimers. They might have to play for the overtime. So the timeout here is going to be very important to see how they can maximize and capitalize on, you know, trying to leverage a hero rifle. It looks like Bones bought all the way down to 0. This might be a round where you might sacrifice a weapon in the next round for a supporting role so that Bones can maybe run a Bucky or a Judge somehow with satchels in the next round. But very, very important round with this investment right now from Fluffy Aimers.
Yeah, this low-key decides the game with where the economy is at. Fluffy Aimers. See how this goes. Getting the orb, and you got the Seekers.
Yeah. So now you have double ults and also the rifle for Bones. And you can follow behind those Seekers. And the Seekers is going to potentially help them get information at their strong side towards A. And if they're actually shot close, then you can Rolling Thunder right away. Oh, Jerk just saw him. He just saw him. He's going to call that out.
Now they're gonna help support the A site. Smokes in place from Mummy. First blood for Bones, but traded 4v4 with Infiltrator still holding the A elbow, but can push back by the Seekers as Fluffy Aimers still have the Rolling Thunder if they think people are still on the site. But now with all the smokes in their way, Fluffy Aimers will make their way in, and with the neural theft they get discovered, and Infiltrator slashes down 1. Numbers back in Winthrop's favor as Fluffy Aimers were depending on the Seekers to really get an advantage, and
30
now
seconds
Rolling
left.
Thunder will be plan B. Okay, the showstopper to try and punish whoever threw that out. We're left with just 2 from each side. Fluffy Aimers finally established. And the Rolling Thunder, it catches Silence, but he teleports out.
10
Beautiful.
seconds left.
Spike planted.
And they do know that with the outline that Screwface has the op for the retake. Big play towards the back of the side. Beautiful fault line.
Wait, savable, winnable. Fluffy Aimers had Jonah extend out through a link. Now can rejoin Pancakes and no utility left. It's just up to Silence to not be caught in the crossfire, and he's got the dance, and well, Jonah spotted him.
1 enemy remaining.
And how do they deal with... Oh, they might have too eagerly challenged Silence against Jonah, who's down to 35 HP. Time running out. Jonah just being so patient. And Jonah comes out with the win, too.
That was so nasty from both of these teams. I did not expect for them to just walk into the site for Bones to get first blood and start opening things up, but it got really messy towards the end. You thought it was a neural theft, but it was a camera that was still placed up here towards that gate to get that ping and that wall bang, and really made things difficult now for Fluffy Aimers to enter the site. Yet Pancakes, their hero rifle that they brought into this round, gets 2 entries right after. They're traded right out. And then you saw towards the end the 1v1. It went back and forth on both ends where you didn't know who was going to come out on top. Right now it's Fluffy Aimers. A buy still available for Winthrop. An AUG still available for Screwface. They're still focusing on conditioning this A-side pressure. And an early Prowler comes out that does get contact onto 1. So it might keep these players out towards the A-side and give an opportunity here for Fluffy Aimers to scale a little bit more and get more control towards the mid side.
And what's different about Winthrop is they're not committing someone to sit in A elbow because they're expecting that quick engagement through either A main or A link. Now aren't going to be gifted that first blood that Winthrop has been getting away with at A. This time Fluffy Aimers pivoted to B. A lot of pressure now on Jerk and Silence. Try to get the team on match point closer to a deciding ascent. Silence is going to be playing on the site. Fluffy Aimers may not know this. They're still using util to clear it. And
wow.
Jerk swings, gets to, helping Nasi on the site not get this plan off. But it's on the other side of the pillar. And Fluffy Aimers put Neptune in the corner. in position with a dog too, but maybe not afforded the time to do so. He's been marked, and this is
he's
a
so
tough
screwed.
spot, and he's gonna try and cross. And he's just gonna stand right in front of the door. They won't expect this. Winthrop have come through the market.
Last player standing.
1v2 with Silence down to 30 HP. Spike being tapped, and it's Winthrop to match point.
There.
What a nice satchel by Infiltrator on that 2 versus 1 to break that crosshair placement over on Neptune. Again, a big mistake from Fluffy Aimers. Nobody breaking the haunt, which pinged out Neptune. Doesn't allow for him to get that forward position back towards Boba to catch the retake towards that site. And when the offshot never being shut out in that round, they still don't know here for Fluffy Aimers that Winthrop University invested into an op this time around in the last few rounds. Now Screwface has an opportunity to fight back towards B main for it, but that's going to be costly. This might be the map here. The economy's so broken now for Fluffy Aimers, and we're going to potentially see this 3rd map in the series between these 2 teams.
Unless... Just kidding. You're right. Probably. Fluffy Aimers will do everything they can to go kicking and screaming. As Bones being a lot more careful on how he's approaching A main. Using the boombot to see who would be close, because sometimes Infiltrator likes to swing off that corner. This time Winthrop will support that A elbow with also Nasi helping out Infiltrator. And yeah, Bones tries to cross through a link and gets picked off. Meanwhile, Fluffy Aimers try to go through mid and extend out. And with the neural theft from Winthrop, they're trying to close it out. Some decent guns out of Mame and Pancakes. They're only down by 1, and they still have the spike in hand. And Mame's coming through the backside as Pancakes in a really bad spot, and the timing. Nasi wasn't looking. This is doable for Fluffy. Oh,
Spike down.
as you see the spike carrier just get killed by the op. Winthrop
Rolling Thunder
closing
here.
it out. Prowler is gonna catch Pancakes. You know exactly where they are. Rolling Thunder thinking that Fade was coming his way. And Screwface dodging it. Pancakes.
So good.
Just trying to react, and Screwface picks another one off. Winthrop send us to Ascent.
That was the best Prowler ever to counter the Rolling Thunder because you had no information of where Screwface was heading towards to. Went back all the way towards spawn. Again, the longest flank you've seen from coming out from Screwface that pushed all the way from B main to get those picks. 2 op picks on a retake somehow to allow here Winthrop University to get revenge on that map of Sunset and push this into Ascent.
Ooh, what a match. Nasi will maybe get to finish his snag after all, because we got another. And this is the exact same map set as before, except guess what? Last time it was... We didn't even get to go to Ascent. Fluffy Aimers 1-2-0. Winthrop have come back. No fake comebacks today. Let's go.
At least in this series, that's what I'm happy to see. Yes, definitely. No team fighting back and then it's over. So I'm liking that we're being very competitive in this series and also very competitive to start things off in stage 2.
Well, we got one more map to finish out our night, everybody. Stay tuned, grab some popcorn, and we'll see you on the other side.
face.